is Cuz in the jungle and Life at support. So they are going to go for that one, as you can see. Certainly has some great setup options. Magus, Nidalee in the jungle, and then Silas. They've got probably too much magic damage, actually, as all the dust settles. So definitely an aggressive comp coming out of Gen G, and a super stable one out of SANDBOX. They just want to poke them down a little bit with some paddle stars, get some cheeky autos in from the Caitlyn, keep everyone alive with the Tahm Kench, and then Summit can start a fight whenever he wants to. As SANDBOX,
and then Olaf.
Yeah, they're going to group as 5 bottom lane. Yeah, and then Olaf, but it's on fleek, so I guess you understand exactly why.
Yeah, it's, again, we give another pass, but definitely some comfort picks for on fleek and Gorilla.
Yep.
We're just having a little dance party here in the bush.
Yeah, we've just fallen over and things like that. It's all right, Dragonfly's hanging around. But as you can see, nothing too much going to happen. Hopefully there's not going to be any wandering into the enemy jungle and dying like we saw a couple of days ago. In fact, last week. Wasn't a couple of days ago.
Yeah, feels like it. Our weekends are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yep.
Actually. So
we get an extra one, though. It's like we get long weekends for the whole second round. It's actually kind of cool.
It's true. We just tack on an extra week. Instead of 9 weeks, we get 10.
Yeah. I like it a little bit more. Especially this time around where we didn't have super weeks forever with the triple best of threes cast from our bedrooms. This is, I'm enjoying this much more, not going to lie.
I'm happy we're over that time. That was a little bit annoying. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this season is going to end up. There's been a lot of strong teams up at the top side and then a lot of weak teams down at the bottom side. A lot of people were buying into the Yamato/Tomato hope.
Some of that tomato magic.
Yeah, the magic. And they have struggled in a couple of their last games, especially up against some of the stronger teams. We'll have to see if they can put up a challenge here up against Gen G, because Gen G are just looking really good right now.
The thing that I'm sort of happy about when it comes to SANDBOX is what they're building, not necessarily what they've built now. I feel like they are putting in a lot of work in shoring up their communication and how this team's supposed to work, and I think that Yamato certainly has been a good test for that. I just think, unfortunately, it came a little bit too late this season. But with the virus, everything like that, it's certainly been difficult to get everything together, and SANDBOX have managed to do it. So even though it is a little bit late, these are trying times. You can understand exactly why there's been a delay, as Rascal's down to 100 health. Just showing some of the early laning prowess of this Horn, as Summit is thinking about diving him.
That's a solo queue thing where you're just taunting the enemy laner by doing the stutter step. I'm a big fan of that one. It's always a tilting move when you go up against it.
Yep.
The mind games.
I love the non-verbal trolling, actually.
Yeah. Or even, you don't even have to throw out an emote. You can dance, you can laugh, you can stutter step like he did.
Yep, Rascal just trying to Kingslayer his way around. Probably didn't want to have ducked that particular minion, but does get the CS. So that's good news. 0-2 Root, last week's Caitlyn performances. He doesn't need to feel too bad. Caitlyn did terribly on every team. So
yeah, and the stat we had show up on screen was that 2 players played it 1-1, and one was 1-2, which don't encapsulate all of the games of Caitlyn, in case you guys were wondering. We did have 13 games. She's 2-11. So, not feeling too good.
That is going to be BDD popping a lot of damage. Puts up the shield a little bit too late, as he'd just recently teleported back. So Fate with the heal, doesn't want to get burst down by any sort of cheeky ganks or anything like that with Clid coming in. Of course, Pantheon Nidalee, a terrifying combination to champions, so you want to be defensive with your choices.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
They push mid lane. There's no vision of this. They're trying to jump on fleet. Here we go.
There it is. There's the stun, and this is exactly the combo that we were talking about. Smite comes down. BDD trying to stay in there as Life is... Oh, the spear, not quite enough. Grazed his bottom there just a little bit as he walks away. No first blood just yet. Now Ruler taking a little bit of poke in this lane, but you can see Jin's lane control just real scary with the dancing grenades. It just means that you're always contending with Jin and a minion wave, which reasons why Life has so much positional advantage.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. It's part of the reason why we do see the Jin into this lane very often. And that was rough for Clid. He was just a couple pixels away from landing that spear and picking up first blood for both spears, actually. The one that was looking to engage and missed, and the one that missed under turret after the flash. So a little bit unfortunate. It was a nice setup by Gen G, but they're going to be denied that play. Yep. Still, you can see the potential of the Pantheon, right? You can push very fast and then try to roam, especially after level 6.
They didn't get punished for it, though, really, right? Like, BDD was able to shove out the wave. Ruler was there. It wasn't like he was getting zoned or anything like that. So Gen G demonstrating why their comp is so powerful in the early game, right? Like, they can afford to leave lane and just do what they want, as Ruler might need to stand back a little bit. There's the heal after the exhaust. Great double knockback with the body slam from Life, but now there's no longer the aftershock, and he's running. Gorilla gets hungry, but not hungry enough as the Peacemaker is not going to land here today. We're probably going to have a bit of a back as On Fleek has started off the Drake with all of that control of the bottom lane that they have now managed to pick up.
Yeah, also the Zoe pushing in mid. They're just going to easily take that one down. It's Infernal, which is going to be really nice for the Zoe and the Caitlyn in particular. And you can see how they opened up that fight too. Ruler stepped about a couple inches too close to the minion wave, got, you know, in a place to get licked, essentially. Yeah. And they were just able to follow up from there and trade a couple of summoners and take back some of the control in the lane. So definitely a good look up against the Gen G bottom lane, which is absolutely very strong.
Certainly has been performing better and better as the season's gone on as well. I've really been impressed by Ruler, as Rascal does find himself a little bit of an abduct onto Summit. Grabs himself a goat of his own, but isn't going to be able to throw it out the ram just yet.
You can see that early on. Actually, Rascal did get pretty far behind, and he kept on getting pushed in. That's generally what's going to happen early on in the levels, because Horn, his base stats and the numbers on his abilities are very good. But eventually, Rascal, once he gets some items, is going to do very well in that lane, and so far is not too far behind, even though that early game can be a little bit of a pain for the Sylas. He's now going to start pushing in that Ornn up in the top side.
Yeah. See how it does develop as the game goes on. Of course, Abyssal Mask is such a great buy for Summit just in general, so you're going to be pretty happy. But as you can see, like you're talking about, the lane is getting more difficult. But with priority, it means that this Rift Herald might be an option for Gen G, as it is just about to spawn. Clid is over in the area as well. Gen G with a slight gold advantage, but no first bloods just yet. And they do have a very aggressive comp, if you guys remember. That means that they want to be getting more done in this early game. As we've got a bit of a roam up from the Gragas.
Yeah. You can see they're taking it pretty slow. They want to pull Shelly over to their side of the river, essentially, near the opening. Spate is pretty low on mana, but he just picked up blue buff, so here we go.
Yeah, that is going to be the counterfeit ram, but gets the Ragnarok out of the Olaf, as now the real GOAT comes back. As BDD's going to get knocked up, no time to put up a shield, as they will just have the Herald stolen away from them, and Flash has to be used by Rascal to get himself out. This is just highway robbery by SANDBOX, first blood and the Herald.
Yeah, little bit of an Ornn difference there in that one. The ram out of Rascal was totally just off the mark, and the one out of Summit was literally perfect. Caught all three of them in both sides. I suppose he only got the knock-up on BDD, though, but either way, that was enough to open it up. Already did a ton of damage with Shelly helping out with a nice little swipe. And Gen G immediately began to realize, hey, we're really out of position. And those three champions also not exactly the most tanky, so not able to sustain there in that fight very well. And that's a really nice play for SANDBOX to turn that one around. They get the first blood, the Rift Herald, and immediately momentum goes to their side, with the better late game team obviously going to be feeling good right now.
Yeah, and Summit is just terrifying on this Ornn. He's very, very strong. And we were talking about this lane sort of moving back into Sylas's area, but now they've recognized it and they're looking to try and punish Summit, who flashes away immediately. And that's a good stun there on the bottom side, but looks like SANDBOX are trying to turn this one around as well. Another Tongue Lash coming out as half the health bar onto Root, but Ruler as well, getting chunked. Aftershock working out for life, so just a little bit of biffo, but otherwise not too much.
Yeah. Neither support going for Unsealed Spellbook, so they're going to have some great battle runes, essentially, and certainly is helping out as Onplate comes down, helps push the lane. Looks like Caitlyn is going to go back and buy. We'll see if she has enough for Infinity Edges. Here's another look at the fight. You see that they're going to take, so here, they send it in first, and it's an on Olaf. And then so much damage is going to come down and knock up BDD here, and everybody on the side of SANDBOX immediately collapses onto them. Even Gorilla gets there just one step ahead of life, so they're just able to knock down BDD.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake by BDD as well. You'd expect him to be able to put up the shield a little bit before getting that knocker, understanding that where the damage is likely to be coming from, but wasn't actually able to. Might have been on cooldown from previously. Of course, has quite a long cooldown in the early stage, but did certainly look a little bit unfortunate there for the Pog Master himself. And now we've moved towards about an 800 gold lead that's only going to be extended here with Shelly in the mid lane as Clid might have found Gorilla, but misses another spear. Fate's going to be stunned. That's a very close. I was expecting that one to land, actually, as Shelly's going to have her eye poked. Still a couple of plates remaining on that outer turret in mid lane, but as you can see, 1,200 gold going to be the lead. Maybe a fight. A brewing here in the mid lane. 4 members of SANDBOX lying in wait. And the poke from the Zoe's working out. Fate really is doing a lot of work in this game so far, keeping BDD down, making sure there's always pressure for SANDBOX in the mid lane. That feels bad.
Yeah, BDD's already behind in this lane, and missing cannons is not going to help out that case, as there is not much priority down here in the river for Gen G. They may just have to give another dragon over to the Olaf comp, which is generally what happens, but here they come, actually, over the wall.
Yep. Gorilla going to get speared, but he was coming up for a lick anyway. Not too worried. Undertow's good out of on fleek. They're just trying to get the shove to make sure that they can control the river. Gorilla with a big bullet in the chamber, but nothing to really use it on, apart from that ward. JG will leave one ward, which is certainly not going to make them very happy. Rascal,
yeah,
with Call of the Forge God available, hijacked. Looks like Gen G are going to try and steal this one away. Zoe was on a reset, and we do have the man drop just coming back off cooldown. Gen G do manage to grab this as Cloud Soul this game. Bit of a feels bad, but it's all right. Going to have a lot of movement speed, and if you've got Jin, definitely a fan of that.
And it's...
Oh, that's a barrel there looking for Gorilla. Great body slam comes out, and the layering of CC is pretty powerful, but Life just getting chunked as Root somehow gets tagged by that spear. How does he miss so many and then lands that one, weaving through the minion wave? Pretty incredible, but still not really going to be able to profit from it. As they tried to throw everything into Gorilla, and Root just free hitting. Almost manages to get the life of Life. Oh god, didn't mean that.
Yeah.
Thumbs out.
It was, yeah, it wasn't the biggest deal that they let the Ocean Drake go, but it would have been nice to stack up the Drakes for your comp. I mean, you have the Olaf, who should have the priority, but either way, they just give that one away. You notice that Fate took heal in this game. He doesn't have Unsealed Spellbook or anything, so he just went straight heal. And no TP, no Ignite, trying to, win the lane. It's definitely a bit of an uncommon choice. And I suppose it will certainly help him if he's trying to get burst down by something like the Pantheon Nidalee, but hasn't been too relevant in this game so far. But either way, he went back, and Pantheon was easily able to get there with his teleport, so they knew they were behind on players, so SANDBOX just let it go. But the Cloud Drake coming in here, as you mentioned, not going to be the biggest steal that they let that one go, as we've kind of stabilized here in the mid lane, or the mid game, I suppose.
Yep.
As we're kind of just hanging out now.
I think Cloud Soul's really interesting for this comp. I actually kind of like getting all of that extra movement speed after your ulti for Jin, because Jin likes to stand millions of miles away from the fight, but if you get that uber burst of movement speed, then you can catch up and actually get some relevant damage down with some autos.
He's already so fast. He's going to be sprinting at the fight.
Yeah.
I like it.
I also like how Boots of Swiftness scale with percentage movement speed as well, because they have added flat, so I don't know. Could be something worth thinking about. Plus, they've got a few ultimates that you just want to throw around, such as the Cask, and of course, Ruler's Curtain Call. More of those you get down, definitely the better. Guardian going to stop Root from taking any damage whatsoever, he's got an eclectic collection of items.
Whoa.
Going to be going rapid fire
Eclectic
cannon.
collection.
I know, I don't know why I'm like, I'm going for every tongue twister.
Got all the
possible
words today. I don't know what's going on. Well, we're going to need the words because we don't have a lot of action in this game. Ruler was just pushing bottom lane by himself. As here we go.
Yeah, that spear going to miss as well. So Fate going to survive, but the Paddle Star misses. No turnaround opportunity as Root's going to turn up. And OnFleek's fighting Rascal. Rascal winning out on the health trade. Okay, Bubble not going to connect. And OnFleek threw away a lot of his health bar, but at least got rid of Rascal there, who's now got the hijack on cooldown. And that is second Herald also going to be picked up by SANDBOX.
Yeah, definitely a lot of tempo being earned here by SANDBOX, even though Gen G tried to open up that fight. They had to back away, and yes, Ruler's getting a lot of solo XP down here in the bottom side, but they really have to punch through here in the mid game. Gen G do. They have to get there before Caitlyn starts coming out of her power trough and before Fate starts one-shotting a lot of these squishy members on the side of Gen G in the later stages of the game. So I'm curious to see how they're going to try to make that work. It looks like for now, trying to get some vision and potentially get aggressive here in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, it looks like Ruler just going to be parked in the mid lane. Keep those minion waves in check. A little bit of a play towards the top side here as there's a lot of vision from Gen G. Summit, he might be a little bit too tanky for these guys as the spear is going to connect. That's the pounce as the flash does come out. So a lot of respect given. The skirmishers sort of helping out there for that extra damage. Looks like BDD and Cleared should be able to get some work done here on the outer turret top lane. Gen G might be able to get towards some sort of advantage unless they lose the bottom lane outer turret, which might actually happen given the Rift Herald advantage that SANDBOX does have. That's going to be the trade turret. Turret, 800 gold now in it. Favor of SANDBOX, my god.
Hello.
Welcome to the game, mid-game,
Yeah.
Zoe. It's scary.
She just picked up her Ludens, and already you can see no MR. Not much defensive stats there on the side of Rascal, so he just gets bombed. As Glid is in an awkward spot here.
Yep, just pouncing where he can. Bubble not going to connect. His life taking some reckless swings here from OnFleek, but is going to miss. As Teleport comes in from the top lane, full minion wave is going to go begging, as now we're fighting around a Cloud Drake. Everyone pretty excited about collecting this one by the looks of things. Double teleports coming forward. Drake being taken down to about a third. Now, let's see who's got the best ramp. There's the engage from the Gragas. He's thrown away his life, but the Olaf is now out of it. Gorilla also having to flash. Kingslayer is massive from Rascal to keep him alive as there's the stun, and Gen G may have just found their team fight. Fate still alive, but he's flashing around this one. Deadly Flourish not going to connect as Summit now in trouble. Curtain Call comes in. Root tagged immediately, but missed by the second one. And Gen G now trying to corral them. Rascal getting in there. The abduct's fantastic. He's just latched onto the Caitlyn and taken her out of the fight. As now Summit also going to go a double kill for BDD. And Fate's on the wrong side of the map. There we go. Spears going to miss once again. Not the greatest day for Quid, not going to lie. As Deadly Flourish, that's going to grab it.
Man, what a team fight by Gen G. I was like, why are they forcing this fight over this first Cloud Drake? You have a massive wave up in the top side. Why are you doing this? Well, if you're going to win that hard, I guess I don't deserve to question it too much, right?
Yeah.
Just looking at the results, I suppose. But you can see here, the Ornn ultimate stolen, a great engage. They get Caitlyn immediately right into the front. Has to be devoured, putting out 0 damage. Zoe totally zoned the entire time. Battlestar's doing nothing. BDD getting so much value with his man drop, and just like that, I mean, the engage was opened up by Gen G very confidently, and they knew they had the power here in this mid-game before Root was really coming online, and That was all it really took. The two members going down. Really great follow-up engage here from Rascal, just to lock it down. And it's a full ace by Gen G. This isn't just like, oh, we got one person and took Cloud Drake. This is like, we totally flipped the game on its head, and now we are in the driver's seat. As you can see, they have taken the gold lead here, and this is exactly what you want out of a comp like what they're piloting.
And they've saved B2D, basically. Like, B2D is on the Pantheon, doesn't necessarily scale into late game very effectively, but now he's 3-1-2. This Panth is gigantic all of a sudden, as they have about a 600 gold lead, but he's now ahead in the lane that he was really struggling in up against Fate. No flash on this Zoe either, who will need to be a little bit careful here this game, at least for the next few minutes. All right, Cliff just going to jump right into an axe as have Ace in the hole come down, and Life is going to block it there for Clid. Another spear going to land. When will they start connecting, Clid? That's my question. As Rascal here split pushing towards bottom side. And seems like no one on SANDBOX is going to stop him.
Yeah.
We do have Summit at least backing. Still a lot of damage there to the inner turret. What's the defensive vision around this Baron that's only been alive for about a minute?
Yeah, just taking a look at the items here, the Caitlyn going for the Storm Major. She's going to take a very long time to come online. We've still got a good 10 minutes before she's really outputting damage, maybe even longer. You can see that they've really had to mix up their resistances too, as that's a massive hit from the side of Fate, who is 4 levels above the support Gragas. But yeah, they've really had to mix in MR and armor against this comp. We talked about how much magic damage they have, but also the lethality Pantheon. If you're not building any armor, you're just going to get ripped to shreds. Yeah. Alongside of Jhin, obviously, who's going to be doing the majority of the sustained physical damage. So a little bit annoying for the itemization for SANDBOX is rude. Thought maybe they wanted to engage on that one, but not just yet.
Potentially, Bubble going to connect there as now OnFleek is after Clid. There's the Ornhorn. It's going to find the Jhin as Ace in the hole does connect. Rascal does have a ram of his own, but it's Clid that goes down to the north. While I was talking about the mid lane, as there's the man drop for the escape. And now Life is he's just taking a hillbilly stroll towards the enemy base, as that paddle star was pretty incredible from Fate, to be perfectly honest. But with this inner turret dead, there's a chance that Life can make it out of here. As the barrel's going to come in. I don't believe Ragnarok's available, and yep, Life just wanders his way out.
Yeah, they're like, this is just too annoying. I mean, we don't really need to chase this Gragas all the way through. But you mentioned Clid on his spears. He hasn't been having the most fun in this game, that's for sure. He gets hit by a straight-up Trouble Bubble. And even though the Paddle Star follow-up did totally miss, the Nidalee is extremely squishy in this game. Didn't even go for the Rod of Ages this time around, went straight for the Athenes, going very supportive in this one. Has a lot of damage, of course, from the rest of her team, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, if she gets hit by anything, they can just dogpile and get in there and kill that Nidalee very quickly, as they did that time around. Also was a little bit of an awkward trade in mid lane, as Jhin not able to really dash away from an Ornhorn. So I think that Summit is really going to be important for these team fights in the future, for opening up space for the Caitlyn to do damage, but also trying to deny Ruler from doing much.
Speaking of which, Gorilla lands a tongue lash onto the gentleman in question. 700 goals the lead here for Gen G, so it's really not a lot. And when ornaments are starting to come in, Molten Edge, fantastic for Caitlyn. I mean, her just damage scaling, her item scaling is so huge that getting extra stats on her is just crazy, right? So will be great for Root as this game moves on. We've seen a bit of this overseas as well. A lot of Orns being picked alongside the Caitlyn is see whether we are going to get the hijack. Rascal can try and walk up to Summit and steal that one away, as it is going to be 2 Drakes apiece, but there's the man drop. Big damage there from B2D as Root's over the wall, using the massive range to a huge advantage, and B2D's just going to get chunked. Has to go golden, and OnFleek trying to get in there. That's a great heal, though, and B2D is going to stay alive. Bubble connects onto the Gragas, but not looking like there's too much follow-up as Ace in the Hole lands onto Ruler, who blocks for his support. Fate still looking to try and corral them, though, as a back will come in. BDD does have the teleport to get back into the fight. Blast Cone utilized, as now we've got a teleport flank. Deadly Flourish comes down as BDD may have just thrown his life away. Flashes backwards, tries to use the shield, but they'll take him down. And now even more damage piled onto Rascal, but he gets the abduct, lands it onto him to Summit, but he's so damn tanky. Ruler picks up the kill onto the Caitlyn, though Clid is flashing forward. Ruler a little bit further away from this fight as double kill comes in, as finally Nidalee is online. Just pouncing on top. If you can't land a spear, just go into cat form and rip them to shreds, I guess is going to be the answer. As Rascal dies to a turret for some reason. And the Flourish comes in again. That is a very dead Zoe, and that's going to be an unofficial quadra kill for the Nidalee.
Should have given that one to Ruler. The guy had so much room in that fight. It was such an extended, I mean, this was a dirty one, okay? This is not a clean engage by any means, as everything was flying everywhere, right? Like, we're getting into the back line for Gen Z that's really easy for their comp, but notice how SANDBOX very intelligently, they kite upwards, and they use the ridge as like a way to just say, okay, you guys want to get into our backline, you want to get on top of Zoe, Caitlyn, but we're not going to let you. And that makes it very difficult for Gen G to follow up engage, which is why we get this whole song and a dance. And it's like, okay, BDD, what are you doing when he hops in here? Very confusing, as the rest of his team is very far away. But what this actually does is it allows Ruler to get a lot of space, as there was so much attention taken off of him. Rascal, incredibly tanky, but Ruler immediately snipes down Root. And that was really the changing point, the turning point in this one, as it's a very skirmish-loving comp. I mean, Nidalee, Sylas, it's, you know, you got Pantheon, even Jhin in an extended fight. Yeah, he gets bubbled here, so it's definitely fun times for Gen G once it gets into this bit of a crazy fight like it did. But for a moment there, SANDBOX, I really liked their maneuvering, and they were nearly able to still take that one out. Now, they're not too far behind. They also picked up the Cloud Drake, which is pretty nice. It's not the biggest steal in the world, but if they can extend the game another 10 minutes, I mean, there's still definitely a chance that SANDBOX can push away from the aggression of Gen G and just outscale them.
The thing I'm scared about is that Jhin doesn't have any scaling issues as a champion. You know, this guy scales on like a million stats at the same time. It's just insane. But he's not hindered whatsoever, right? He is just huge and might be the factor that Gen G need in order to get to that late game a little bit more unscathed, especially with the fact that he can be built up with that Primal Surge coming out from the Nidalee, the extra healing available from his more supportive build as well. And I just need to shout out Life, man. Like, this guy's Gragas peel is just so strong.
Yeah.
This body slams whenever Ruler needs it, and makes sure that the Jhin is as safe as possible. It's certainly a look back at vintage Life with his Gragas support that was so good in seasons past.
It's more of like a Alistar that has a little bit less, you know, hard engage potential. It's definitely a lot of finesse if you're going to try to hard engage as Gragas in the way that Alistar could, but definitely
more damage.
More damage and a little bit more defensive capability with all the body slams and all that good stuff. And Life knows his job is to keep Ruler alive, as you mentioned. You know, they do have that Jhin for insane scaling themselves, and it really is going to have to be the Ruler show if this game does go into the later stages, which it does look like we are slowly but surely making our way down that path, as we're nearly at the 30-minute mark.
Whoa, that's an extra zeal on Ruler. This guy is massive. Root doesn't even have his Infinity Edge yet. This Caitlyn is doing half the damage of the Jhin right now.
Yeah.
Ruler just massive, with a whole bunch of crit built up also.
And we did have Morelos picked up here by Zoe. I don't mind it too much in this game because of the Sylas healing mid-fight, and also the Nidalee is going to be, you know, spamming her heals off cooldown in the fight at the same time, so it's not like it's healing that they would mostly do outside of combat.
Yep.
As we're taking a look here at the damage percentages, once again, Fate is just trying to carry his team in terms of damage. and it's the ruler show on the side of Gen G.
Good to see there's no surprises when we have a look at those damage numbers. 3,000 gold the lead here as Nidalee just steals away that dragon for free. Soul point provided over to Gen G.
Yeah, it was a little bit confusing as to why they just let that one go, but maybe they're just saying, well, it's only one singular Cloud Drake, it's not going to give them the soul just yet. Let us continue to try to get Ornn items, get Caitlyn her Infinity Edge at least before we fight. As you've been mentioning, that is a extremely important item that she still hasn't picked up yet. And they're definitely going to want that one before we do get into any big engagements.
Yeah, it's sort of overseas we've seen sort of the rise of Infinity Edge Stormrazor for the very clean sort of 2-item power spike that helps move your damage forward. I know Freak is very outspoken with the way that, oh wow, Clint misses the Gromp, but does manage to nail on.
All planned.
Yeah, that's perfect. But yeah, so Freak's been outspoken saying that like the more BF swords you can buy, the better the scaling is for Caitlyn. And I tend to agree. I think that when you have Zeal items, it feels a little bit worse. But now the Molten Edge is in, so regardless of how many Zeals you got, still going to be doing a lot of damage there on Root's side, who's going to pick up the blue buff for himself, as that's going to be a phenomenal ultimate coming out from Rascal, making up for that last one as Gorilla going to be taking down the Catfish well and truly dead. As now BDD's shield working out very nicely as now they've reformed the Phalanx. That's going to be the stun coming out from the Jhin, that massive range working out for them. As Rascal going to change position with the Skond. And Gen G having taken down the Tahm Kench. Thinking about what they can position for here objective-wise. That's a teleport forward from a Summit that does have all of his health back.
He's a very speedy boy, too. Here's the teleport coming in from Rascal. Gonna be spotted. I don't think they'll be able to catch up to him, though.
Not quite level 16 yet, but does have the hijack back off cooldown again. Won't be able to take the Call of the Forge God, but any of these other ultimates are going to be available. Maybe a Ragnarok feeling like a good idea. As Abyssal Voyage comes in from Gorilla to reposition him, and now it's going to be 5v5 as Rascal getting chunked. Kingslayer comes in, but that's a fantastic Zhonya as the barrel goes completely wide as Root does take down the Sylas. Now it's 5v4. Summit frontlining beautifully. Life is dead. Ruler trying to kite this one out. He's so damn fast, but Root is chunking everyone with his new Molten Edge. This is what happens when you hit the item timings, and my god, finally Root's actually doing some work. Curtain Call comes in, but doesn't really do anything as this Baron's taken down to about half health. BDD going to be spotted on this ward. And Bubble flies forward, doesn't land onto Ruler.
An angle.
I don't think that we're going to be able to get a steal here, Valdez.
Doesn't look like the BDD going to throw out a spear. It's not going to happen as we have officially entered the later stages of the game. You mentioned the Molten Edge, and it starts off really nicely here for Gen G. This is a perfect cask. Gets the Catfish in, and look at that last shot from the ultimate of Jhin. Is insane the amount of damage that did onto the Catfish. And everything looked pretty good for Gen G here, but notice how SANDBOX officially, they're able to easily disengage. And then this engage out of Gen G was very sloppy. Rascal goes in, has to stopwatch. And then look at the lack of follow-up. Root has so much room on the right side. And once again, he's using this ridge to say, you can't get near me. Fight was pretty much over by that time anyway, but still able to take out one member. As everybody's happy here in the booth. I think a lot of people in that booth. It's like 5 coaches.
So like the huge smile on Joker's face, and then Yamato's in the back like, yes, but I'm still not happy yet. Of course, this game isn't over yet. There is 800 gold in it, and yes, SANDBOX do have a Baron. They will be able to continue to boost this power play, especially with the outer turret being on the top side. BDD did push out that wave, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get the minions towards it, but that looks like sitting gold as well as the inner turret on the bottom side of the map as well. So look to see SANDBOX get themselves a bit of a lead off the back of this.
Yeah.
Static Shift completed by Ruler, as well as the Last Whisper. I feel like he had a lot of gold in that last fight. Still hasn't died.
He absolutely did, and he was able to do about 0 effective damage just because of the way that the engage happened and the awkward positioning from his team. This is going to turn into the battle of the 80 carries plus Zoe, who has a really nice hat amongst a lot of skirmishy dudes and dudettes on both sides, but more of them on the side of Gen G, who are not going to really love this later stage of the game. As here we go, we're going to be fighting over this Cloud Drake, it seems.
Have as many elemental Drakes as possible this game. 3 apiece now. That second Cloud for SANDBOX is going to be taken. 4 turrets to 0 still in favor of Gen G, but they've lost the gold lead. As now it looks like the positional advantage going to be there for SANDBOX. There's a lot of different backs here as everyone's playing chicken with everyone and everyone's driving off the road. It's like they both tried to veer off at the same time, but went the same way and sort of crashed into each other.
I hate when it happens.
Yeah, no, it's not how you play chicken. If that happened in Footloose, it would have been a much shorter movie. That's a very old reference, Max. Probably shouldn't be making that one. Great movie, though. Definitely worth the watch. Sometimes you got to like peer into history, you know, to understand, you know, where we came from, to understand more where we are, you know.
History repeats itself, so
it does tend to.
We're gonna have a Footloose remake.
I mean, there already has been a Footloose
It's gonna be the remake of the remake. It's just gonna be another movie that's made just like it, basically.
Is it gonna be as scary as this one? As that's the Devour to come in. Life misses another cast, though. As now he's trying to get on top of Root. Curtain Call comes in, but they're just going to block for the Caitlyn, and that's all they need to do. Life surviving for the minute, but not for long as On Fleet comes around, puts an axe into the back of his head. Is now cleared from the side. Big AoE damage here as the Deadly Flourish. Ruler is completely untouched. This dancing grenade could murder everyone as the first kill comes. And it's on to the Ornn. Also another Devour. Root's still very healthy as the Silas falls down. And it's 80 carry versus 80 carry. My God, each shot doing about 1 trillion damage. And that's not an exaggeration. Root's going to back away, and it's a stalemate. If they're both alive, it's so scary. But still, it's a one fight for SANDBOX, 2-3.
Yeah. Look at this Jindo. I mean, Ruler's trying to put the team on his back right now. As Gorilla certainly doing his job. If they didn't have a Tom Kent, this Caitlyn would be a much sadder AD carry. As does have a lot of life steal, nearly able to heal to pull off a life there. As desperate engages coming from Gen G, and you're thinking, oh, this isn't looking so great. Italy's really behind the play, but you're able to get enough pressure in the backside as Ruler snipes another one there. Misclicks, actually. I think he meant to click on Root, but clicked Gorilla. Didn't end up mattering because he still gets a double kill and he's at full health anyway. And one shot to Root, and Root is like, never mind. I'm going home.
Yeah.
I will see you in the next game.
The Tom Kench is dead. Now I can't walk forward in case Ruler is in range to auto-attack. If Ruler is in range to auto-attack Root and there's a 4th bullet, his entire health bar evaporates. But now, he's got a Bloodthirster. There's a Lord Dominic's regard on Ruler. Like, this guy has maximum damage and doesn't care who he's shooting. As On Fleet's got a lot of health, that's why Lord Dominic is going to work. As the red buff is stolen away, Root's going to claim that. But yeah, this is 100% Battle of the 80 carries. Another Zeal completed.
Fate, what are you doing?
Fate is dead. Another party cast from Life. Oh no, it's a disaster, and Fate actually going to survive. The Nidalee's dead, the Gragas is too. Ruler is still alive, thank goodness for him. As now he's getting enclosed by both Gorilla and Summit. All right, captive audience comes in. Root's flashing over, though, and that is a very dead Jhin, and that may have just been the throw here by Gen G. BDD off to the side, but maybe he's just throwing his life away for the colony as well. As another Ornhorn comes out from Rascal. He's trying to peel for the Pantheon, but he just can't. And now he realizes that I think his job is going to be trying to clean up minion waves that he just cannot. This game should be over.
I think so. I think they're just going to push down the mid lane and take it away as Fate playing the 5D chess in front of all of us, saying, you know what would work here is if we bait Ruler and the rest of his team out of position by my unbelievably aggressive portal jump. And it ends up working out because they couldn't click on Fate again, as they're going to try to defend here. Not sure it's going to work.
Yeah, well, that's Clid just trying to clear out the minions, but that's not going to do it because those turrets died in about 3.5 seconds. That's game over. SANDBOX take game 1, and Gen G